Hello everyone, welcome back to Switch Up and to the episode where we try and play with the backlog a little. We just tease it with a few new titles. We also give away a free game each and every week to someone down in the comments. This is the winner of a copy of a lovely game called Bernard that we did a video of on the channel. Now, if you're interested in winning, all you need to do is leave your comments as you would on any other video and I'll choose someone for next week. The Markitech channel sales have begun, so if you've got a PC or Steam Deck, you can go and take a look. The next video goes live tonight, but the first one absolutely crushed it for the size of that little channel. So yeah, thanks for that. There's a link down in the description to Markitech. As always, you can still save 5% over at switchup.gg on your eShop credit. You get that in cash back just for making a purchase, and we get a tiny kickback from Nintendo. At the end of this, we may also take a little look out into FarmUp because I got told off last week for missing it out. All right, what are the best games on sale? Well, let's find out. Let's kick off then with a sale that's only in the American regions. It's Shovel Knight Dig, which is 50% off until May the 23rd. Now, I'm sure you've heard of Shovel Knight. You may not have heard of the spin-off Shovel Knight Dig, but you essentially go on like a roguelike run where you're continuously digging down with a lot of familiar characters, but this continuous motion. Now, it might interest you, it might not, but this is actually a collaboration between Yacht Club Games, who make Shovel Knight, and a company called Nitrone, who have been described as the masters of the pixel. You may know them from the game Bomb Chicken or Gunbrick, but while this does play very differently to previous Shovel Knight Digs, it definitely has the same atmosphere, I guess, and mainly that comes from that visual style. And you can clearly see that although it uses some procedural generation to make your runs different, the different segments are almost slotted together and they're actually handcrafted. It's a good game. I think I've done a review of this. It's been so long since that review came out, but go and have a little gander on the channel, see if you can find it. For the price they're asking, 50% off, it's not bad at all, especially if you're a fan of this style of game. That sale goes on until May the 23rd. Thronebreaker The Witcher Tales is a lovely Gwent standalone RPG that right now is just £4.24. That is by far the cheapest it's ever been until May the 25th. It represents a 75% discount off the base price, and the best way to describe it is if you have an old school like tabletop RPG, a bit like a classic RPG or a computer RPG, where you're moving around your group, there's a campsite where you can chat to the different members that you've gradually gained, but then when it comes to combat, you can actually use that Gwent gameplay that we learned in The Witcher 3 to fight your different enemies. Now, if you're sat there going, what the heck is Gwent? It's like the card game that's linked to The Witcher 3. It teaches you how to do it here, and it's much more in depth. But it's actually surprisingly easy to pick up, and yeah, I loved this game. Developed and published by CD Projekt Red, it's just 4.3 gigs to download. If you want to blast through it, I mean, there isn't really a blast through it option. It's going to take around 20 to 30 hours, but Thronebreaker The Witcher Tales at 75% off is an absolute bargain at just £4.24.
An experience both challenging and entertaining. As your army's commander, you will devise your strategy. Decide to attack your foes.
The Flame in the Flood Complete Edition is down to 75% to just £3.74. This used to go on sale all the time and then they just stopped. Like for the longest time, it just wasn't on sale at all. Of course, this is actually published by CD Projekt, so that's why you'll see a lot of the same publishers' titles in this sale, but it's developed by the Molasses Flood. I think this is their only game on Switch, but it essentially sees you going down the river on a raft. It's like a survival game. The river is procedurally generated in terms of the landing spots that you'll get to, and you can scrounge up different resources, craft tools. If you get a hideous disease, you can create a remedy. Oh man, I was taking my boy, we were playing hide and seek like in this massive field yesterday, and he got stung to high heavens like stinging nettles, and I got the old dock leaves. Do you have that in America? We get these leaves and you like rub it on, it's supposed to heal it. And then I watched a Mythbusters video and it was like, that's completely bogus, like it doesn't do anything, which was disappointing, but the placebo does. He was like, oh yeah, it's feeling better. I was like, great. Happy days. But the Flame in the Flood, I don't know how that linked across. Well, that will be 75% off until May the 25th, just £3.74. Oh, and a 1.9 gig download. A little pickup for me this week, based on recommendations from a few of you, and I watched a couple of reviews, is Death Trick Double Blind. Now, I'd heard of Death Trick, hadn't heard of this one. It's half price, which I think matches its cheapest ever price. And so far, at least for the first 2 hours, I'm really enjoying it. It's like a mashup of a few different genres, but there's a mystery going on with the disappearance of one of the characters as well. And here you take on the role of two separate protagonists who are trying to solve this case from different perspectives. One of them is a fellow magician of the person who's gone missing, and the other one's a private detective with a bout of amnesia. Of course, why wouldn't they have it? Now, what I didn't expect was the turn system. So there's basically like, you've got a set amount of time that you're allowed to do actions within, which means you can't go after every clue, every little lead. You have to pick wisely and pick carefully. And that actually adds quite a nice aspect to the experience, or at least it has done so far. And while I don't have the most analytical brain ever, it does seem to guide you a little towards making observations to look for things like contradictions in stories. And it just seems very well made. Yeah, I'm impressed by it so far. And for that price, I don't know, maybe it's a little hidden gem for you as well. That's Death Trick Double Blind, 50% off until May 25th.
People say the circus is a world of its own. And I know each and every one of my colleagues.
Vaporum Lockdown is the sequel to Vaporum, but it's finally down to a price that I would say, yeah, that's very good indeed. It's £4.74 until May the 29th, 75% off. It's actually not the sequel, it's actually a prequel to that game, but it came out, afterwards. It's a first-person, almost dungeon crawler RPG, where you can stop time, use various gadgets to solve things and to attack and fight enemies, and you're learning their patterns and trying to work them out and the best way to take them down. It's got a weird old storyline with that steampunk aesthetic that was similar to the first game. A fun time for sure. We do have a review of the first one. I don't think we've got a review of this one, but for £4, yeah, that is another little bargain that maybe you didn't know about or hadn't heard of. Very good game. The sale goes on until May the 29th. As I say, 75% off Vaporum Lockdown. Alright, do not sleep on Alisa Developer's Cut. This one's a bit of a gem. Now it's just £12.14, 25% off. That's its cheapest price since Glenn did a review of it. It didn't come out too long ago, but that goes on until June the 1st. This is a classic survival horror, so think Resident Evil style, and it's one that we have a full review of. Don't be put off by this aesthetic. Now I actually think it looks great. Like, it's got that classic PS1 era fixed isometric perspective gameplay. It's got this slightly unusual setup where you will sometimes face a bunch of enemies at the same time, and some of them move quite quickly, but it will also feel really familiar. As I say, if you enjoyed things like Resident Evil, you don't mind those low poly models, and you're pretty good at horror games, yeah, I think you'll enjoy this. Very early Capcom feel. It was developed by Casper Crows, and yeah, I think it's fair to say it has a bit of a cult following around it. It's just 667 megs. If you enjoyed Crow Country, then you'll definitely like this one as well. That sale goes on until June the 1st.
You're one of the Emperor's crows, aren't you? We're all equal here, and far away from...
People had been asking for a re-release of Beyond Good and Evil for years and years, and we finally got one, and it was pretty good actually. They put in a lot more effort than I think many people thought they would. Gives you access to some areas that were never in the game originally. They'd improved some of the visuals. It performed pretty decently on Switch as well, and it's a very fun adventure game. Now, at the moment in the US regions, you've got a lovely sale on it, so it's worth mentioning. That goes on until May the 28th. But I did do a full review of this, so if you're interested in finding out a bit more, you can go check it out. It was ahead of its time, so it just did things that other games then took for granted and did as standard. But as you'll see from my review, it does still hold up. It's just a little janky at times. So yeah, if you're interested in that, I'd say go check out the review first. It's an 8.7 gig download as well, and as I say, only in the US regions. That's Beyond Good and Evil, the 20th anniversary edition, until May the 28th. Then you've got The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt, which I completely forgot in our midweek sales video, so apologies for that. This one you've got two options. You've got this base version, which is just £7.49, which is still giving you like hundreds of hours of content and questing. It's that third-person action game. CD Projekt Red's best Witcher game, I think it's fair to say. But there is the complete edition as well for a couple of quid more that includes the DLC. If you're interested in that, just make sure you've got enough space on your SD card. 24 gigs to download. It will be really interesting to see how this one runs when the Switch 2 releases. But it's also probably a good time to buy a few of these types of experiences if you are going to be getting the Switch 2, because this uses dynamic resolution scaling. So when it's running on that faster hardware, you would assume that we'll have a better picture quality even without a patch. Just make sure as well it's actually on their compatibility list. I think most games are, aren't they? The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt at its lowest ever price, still worth adding to your collection. Okay, the kids' pick this week is the Scribblenauts Mega Pack, which has 1 or 2 player modes and has a bit of a story to it this time around. The older games were all about just writing words on the screen and then that thing would appear. This time there's actually a storyline, or at least 41 different storylines tied to the siblings of Maxwell. There's a reason it's a kid's pick. It really does appeal to the ability to kind of customize your characters however you want, create whatever you want within the world, and just that sense of exploration as well. And it has the bonus, the added bonus, I guess, of helping them with their spellings. So this one for a couple of quid is well worth it. It's on sale in all regions until June the 1st and matches its cheapest ever price. Alright, the hidden gem this week then, before we look at some super cheap ones, is BloodRayne Betrayal Fresh Bites. Now, I'd played the original BloodRaynes. We reviewed, I think, 1 and 2 that were re-released on Switch, but I hadn't played this side perspective BloodRayne experience that was developed by WayForward and published by Ziggurat, and I'm glad I've finally got round to doing so. It's decent. You can tell that they've actually got a bit of a reverence for the original games because they brought back the original voice actors. You've got Troy Baker and I think it's Laura Bailey voicing their characters to make those sound much better than before. The visuals are better, as well as some bug fixes, and there are new difficulty options in here. So this one came out, I think, back in 2011 originally, and it was developed by WayForward, but this version is a big upgrade over that in terms of the visual quality. They fixed a few of the janky moments, and the whole thing fits into 1.2 gigs. So yeah, nice one. Not one that I'd played before. I played the 3D ones, but not this one, and it's been a pleasant surprise. BloodRayne Betrayal Fresh Bites. That sale goes on until May the 29th.
I want to give you a hug. This could turn out to be...
Alright, that takes us on to our Savaloy Selection, our Fed Cooks, our Costco hot dogs, our games that are about 2 quid, 2 or 3 quid. If it goes any higher than that, I start to get uncomfortable. First up, we've got Very Very Valet. This is just £2.69, 80% off, and it's a 1 to 4 player kind of party game where you're like a car valet. Ridiculous co-op experience. You know how these work. They're a lot of fun. There is a severe parking shortage and you and your pals are going to try and sort it out. Sounds like my road, I've got to be honest. There's also an 8-player party mode if you've got that many friends. Oh, a really enjoyable experience actually. Just 928 megs, that's Very Very Valet. America have a good sale on Dungeons of Dreadrock, 80% off, down to $1.99. This does have a lot of sales though, it has to be said. So if you miss this one, you're not gonna, you'll be able to pick it up later. It's a puzzle adventure, like old school, top down, almost Zelda style, with about 100 different levels. Beholga I really enjoyed. Now I like Volga the Viking, so when I saw Beholga, I wondered if it was the same people. It's not, but it's just £1.79. It's the same developer that made A Whole New World, 7 Day Heroes, Bit Dungeon, if you've heard of that. They've got a load of reasonably good games. Beholga's pretty brutally difficult, but it's a classic style, side perspective, old school pixel art. Looks quality, hacking and slashing, fighting some bosses that are way too hard for their own good. Yeah, nice game this one. And then you've got Sagebrush. This one's just £1.79 until May 28th. It's a first-person narrative adventure game where you're investigating this cult, and it's from the real world, like it's an actual cult that existed, set in New Mexico. You're looking around the Black Sage Ranch, not the Sagebrush Ranch. Really eerie game, actually, very unusual. Another that's a bit janky, it comes from a company called Ratalaika Games, and they do have a tendency to be a little janky, but I enjoyed this one quite a bit. Now we have an Avoid game this week, believe it or not. The Avoid is back, and that is Harry Potter Quidditch Champions, which is down 80% to just £4.99. But let me tell you, it is garbage. It's so bugged on Nintendo Switch. I had the whole game turn white, there were things shimmering all over the place. There's a couple of patches that seem to fix some of the issues, but it's still so janky. So unless you absolutely love your broomsticks and you can't get enough of them, I would say for most people, just avoid it on Switch. So that's it for this week. Let me know in the comments, what have you picked up? Are you gonna go and check out my Markitech sales video? Nudge, nudge, wink, wink, link in the description. And are you gonna save yourself 5% on your eShop credit? Hopefully you are. All right, thank you to our Patreons, our members, all of you that enjoy the content. For all things Switch, all the time, keep it Switch up. Cheers, guys. See ya! All right, for some strange reason, quite a lot of you wanted to know about FarmUp and its current state and where we're at. So let's have a little look at that, shall we? All right, so the strawberries need weeding, clearly, but they're growing well. Taters, looking tidy over there, happy days. I've tried to get rid of like this big area of, it's gonna be grass back there again. Look at those onions. Oh yes. I'm telling you, weeding plants is boring. Takes a long, long time. It's worth it. And then potatoes. This is my competition entry. Everyone else has got their ones. I mean, these slugs do like that, don't they? I'm fighting a losing battle against the slugs. But that is what it is. But yeah, we're getting there, definitely. There were some actual nice comments, people trying to help me. But yeah, weeding's boring. There you go, job done. Oh my word. Put this down. Ow. Whew. So yeah, happy days, getting there. The promised sunshine for the UK seems to have gone away, but you can't win them all. See you later.